This picture was a bit of an experiment for me. What you're looking at is a very tiny section of a flower. And I'm guessing it's maybe 1 inch. Everything you see here is probably 1 inch from top to bottom. And I took this with my macro lens. And what I was hoping to accomplish here was something that I've never quite done before, which isn't necessarily to take a close-up photo, which I did, but to eliminate the background and using a technique that I've never tried, which is a total blank background. There's no shadows anywhere in this. There's no bokeh or blurriness anywhere in this. It's just a subject and a totally uniform blank background. How I did this is actually pretty simple. What you're looking at is the top of, I don't know what it's called. It's some flowers that were in a vase that our neighbor gave us. And this is something that was sticking up from one of the flowers. I don't know what this is called, but I thought it would be cool to get a picture of this. And I wanted to try it in maybe a different way than I might have traditionally tried to take a picture of this. Normally I would just be like, I'll get my macro lens and get an up close photo. But then I thought, well, what if I could eliminate the background just as kind of an experiment? So I wanted to figure out how I could do that. And I actually went to the closet and got out something that I haven't used in a long time, which is it's made by a company called Neewer, Neewer. It's like a 5-in-1 reflector diffuser kind of thing. My wife got it for me years ago, probably 10 years ago. And it's designed to do a couple different things. It's like this small circle that unfolds into a massive, like a 3-foot wide circle, and it reflects light off of a metal surface. It also reflects light off a golden surface. And then there's another 3-foot circle in the package that when you expand that, it's kind of translucent. And that's what I used here. It's this white translucent background. And when you use that, you can kind of diffuse whatever light is coming in. So I didn't exactly use it in its intended way. What I did was I shot, this was on the dining room table, and I shot this directly into the main source of light, which was the window right behind it. So if you can picture this, my camera is looking at this flower thing, and then directly behind it is the window. Well, that's no good because the window is so bright, but you can diffuse that light with a giant diffuser, which is what I had. So I set that vertically, like I think I put like a box or something on the table to kind of hold it up, or maybe it was a chair. I don't know. I put something on the table to hold that thing up, that light diffuser, and then shot this directly into the light. And I think, let's see, I shot this at f32. So it was a really tiny aperture. And even then you can still see some foreground blur. One of the petals lower to the, I guess about on the lower third line on the horizon of this photo, like the lower third horizontal line is a little blurry in the foreground. And even at f32, you can see that the depth of field is super shallow, but I got an extremely sharp photo. I'm really happy with the sharpness. This was a 10-second exposure, and that tells you just how tiny the aperture was. I'm looking directly into the main source of light, and yet I needed 10 seconds at ISO 100 to get this shot. Even then, it was a little dark because my camera was kind of like, the light meter was kind of giving me an overall average for the entire scene, which was not really correct because I needed the subject to be exposed. But the D750 has such a good sensor, even though it's I think an 8-year-old camera by now. The image sensor is so good that you can bring up those shadows in post, which is what I did. And it wasn't dark, it was just kind of shadowy. Did just a couple little tweaks to this. I didn't eliminate anything from the background though. The background is exactly as it was shot. I didn't remove it in Photoshop or anything like that. It was fun to take this. I don't know when I'll be able to use this technique again, but it was cool to try it and just maybe think of a new way to shoot a familiar subject.